Alright, we've got the bolts through the control arm. You have to do this before you attach the strut. If you try and do this after you've attached the strut, you will never get enough flexion to get that bolt in place. But we now have that bolt in place. We're going to thread this 17mm nut on the end, and we're going to go ahead and snug up the outer bolt, and then we're going to go ahead and snug up the inner bolt, and that'll have that control arm in place. And then we'll be able to move on to the strut. This one works better attaching the breaker bar to the bolt and tightening the nut. The upper one is exactly the opposite of that. That you absolutely have to tighten the bolt with the breaker bar on the nut. There is not enough room to get the socket onto the nut. Tighten this down. Again, tight working quarters in here. Should have done this before I installed the strut in the body, but it's not the end of the world. Alright, our control arm is in place. Now to install the strut. The bolt for the strut is kind of a pain in the butt to get in place, especially with my strut extended. We're going to try it with the pry bar, and if that doesn't work, then we're going to go ahead and use the jack to jack the bottom of the strut up high enough to get it in place. But we'll try the pry bar first. So, I'm just using a long-handled screwdriver. Careful on these brake lines. Okay, we've got it started and driven through. Go ahead and install this 19mm nut on the end of the 19mm bolt. And then we're going to go ahead and tighten this down and move on to the other side. Alright, this side's ready for a wheel. I'm going to move to the other side and repeat the procedure. Put the wheels back on the car and take her for a test spin and see how she sits.